positive terminal cable. Both cables that I have are from Honda, as the aftermarkets just replaced both these pieces, and I don't want to go and chop these off. I'd rather just replace the whole cable. On the 6-string Accords, as you can see right here, they have this exposed cover section right here, which is not insulated, which I don't like, but I have no choice but to just install it for now. The original cables are pretty much 20 years old right now, and they've held up really well, but I don't know if you can really see all the way down in there, but you can see all that corrosion right in there from the negative terminal, which I'm not a big fan of, and can cause issues with continuity of the battery, etc. So today we're just going to show how to replace them. If you're having trouble basically taking off the terminals, for example, positive does not want to wiggle off, good way to do is basically take a Phillips screwdriver and any tool basically to wedge inside the box. Let me see if I can find one first of all. Alright, so now I got me a flathead. Let's see if I can wiggle this off. I ain't taking a back seat, I'm passing anybody else who is rapping. I'm nasty, ain't nobody able to catch me. I've already loosened this one, so that's why that one came off pretty easy. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these two 10s, which hold down basically the battery tie to hold down the battery. This will also help you for those who need to replace the battery on a 6-string Accord from 98 to 2002. Pretty much all the same, even the V6, it'll just be on this side where the V6s have the battery. And you just want to loosen it just enough with the hooks down here. Basically, if I can get in, right down in there, basically, you just want to get it enough that you can basically unhook them. Same thing on this side, straight down there. I ain't taking a back seat, I'm passing anybody else who is rapping. I'm nasty, ain't nobody able to catch me. They gasping, they cannot compare, they can't match me. I'm at half speed, I got your girl and she laughing and dancing, hanging on my butt, she Alright, make sure they don't touch the battery terminals. Alright, now we can pull the battery out. And the tray. Alrighty, so now we can gain access, as you can see down in here. Right where my finger is, that's the one bolt right there, which should be a 10mm bolt right there. You can't really see it. There you go. It's a 10mm right there to get the negative. The other point is right here, which is right next to the coolant reservoir basically. And all you have to do is remove that 10mm right there, and then you can get this whole cable out. Some cables are basically bolted up right on this bracy bracket right here, but in my situation mine was never bolted up. Now that everything has been removed, basically it was just that 110 down in there. You can get it from up top. You can pretty much stick your hand in here, or you can stick your hand in here. I used a 10, an extension, and a 3/8 drive basically to, you know, basically go like this. And as you can see, I was able to, let me get in there, basically reach the bolt. But this is what I was talking about before. See how all that crustiness right there? All this is from Honda, and what happens is it just basically corrodes and eats up all the copper wire. And basically it's just loss of continuity, you know, from being a complete circuit. You might have starting issues. Not saying this is what the cause is, but this is one of the, you know, variables to replacing. I'm trying to see if they have a heat shrink that I could put over the new one. But the problem is this right here is too wide, and most heat shrinks are pretty much a tight fit. You want it to be a tight when you heat the heat shrink up to basically make a complete seal to overlap this shielding for the copper wire. But with this being in the way, I'm just going to go and throw on the new one. This is pretty much original. This came with the car, so I think the new one would basically be fine. Here's the new one. That's from Honda. As you can see, it has the new cables and stuff, and there's the new one right here. It has this nice tight fit. But this is the main reason why I'm replacing this, because the starter is new. Yes, it's rusted. It's basically surface rust. But I replaced the starter about a year ago, less than 2,000-3,000 miles. But I'm gonna go ahead and do the opposite of what I did. So basically, this right here will go down in here. The other one will go here, which is this right here. The little metal bracket here would go as such, like that basically. And then this will go on the battery. And I will show you what it looks like once I'm done. So, here's it installed. Got the ground right here. Got that. There's a clip that comes with the new harness, which clips on. You just basically pull this little clip back right here. And you just basically pull this off to get it off that bracket. And then down in here, yeah, let's see if I can get in there. Right there, you can see it's bolted up, basically, the new cable. And that is it, basically, for the negative terminal cable. Now we're going to move on to the positive, which is shoved in here. There it is. We're going to basically get rid of this right here. I'm not a big fan of the aftermarket, and I just like a clean look. And being that's 20 years old with all that corrosion, as you can see inside of there, I'd rather just basically get rid of it, and that's why I have this. There's a part number for those who may need it. There's a new cable. To remove the positive terminal cable, basically you remove this, 2 clips, pop this fuse box cover up, just pull it away, and follow this cable to this. You can use either a 10mm, I believe, or a Phillips. I prefer using the 10. That way you don't strip the head of the screw, basically, because these are really hard to find. And basically, you're just going to remove this, lift off, pull this away, pull this clip off right here, and then the other cable right here just basically goes on top of the starter, which I believe is a 12mm nut right there. And that is it for the starter cable. Alright, we are now back. As you can see, it was basically slide this off, this cable, or basically slide in right here, and you just slide it basically like this. You pull it up, this clip, you just basically pull it off, lift it, and this right here, you just lift up the boots, and it's a 12. Goes on top, right on top of the starter basically, and you just lift it off. Make sure you do not lose that 12, because you need that to basically go back in the starter. And then you have the old cable out. Like I said, I'm replacing because most of this cable is basically corroded up. Now we'll go on to installing the new one. As you can see, we got the new cable on. We clip it, take this back off. We got the screw in, which is actually an 8mm. I do apologize. Okay, you clip that back on. Got this going. You route it through underneath this way, the shock tower bar. Basically, you underloop it. Basically, you clip it, run it through this clip that it comes in. I don't know why my old one that came originally with the car never had this clip right here. There's nothing to really clip it to. The other cable, make sure you keep that bracket. I don't know why. Let me see if I can get in here. This bracket here, it slides on, it clips, but there's no really spot how you set for right there, that little 10mm bolt that I'm pointing at right there. That's probably the only logical choice, but that goes to the shifter cable basically, which allows you to basically secure your shifter when you shift the gears, as my car's a manual. Then the last thing you gotta do is lift up this little boot. We can lift it up. That little boot right there, you go ahead and put that 12mm bolt back on, which connects to the starter. This supplies power to the starter, and then push this new boot back on. That boot's what protects water or any contaminants from corroding. Even though it's being somewhat of a hypocrite when it comes to that negative cable, that's just the way they designed it from Honda. I don't know why. I'd rather, you know, they insulate it. You know, this way I want to be doing what I'm doing. And then, as you can see, we have everything connected. I chose not to clip this to this bracket because I don't have enough slack to connect to the new battery. I'm assuming that the new battery is taller than the original battery that came with this car. And I put this, which sucks an air into the air box, back in. But I'm gonna have to take it back out to be able to put the battery tie down back onto the battery to secure it, to keep this from moving, which you also need to pass inspection. Once we get that going, you should be good to go and ready to start. You put the two, tighten these two tensioners basically, or whatever you want to call it basically, with the 210s. Tighten these down. Make sure there's an arrow, I know you can't really tell, but there's an arrow right here that's pointing to the front of the car. Make sure that's why it says FR for the front. Make sure it's pointing to the front, because it would not line up the two spots, because if you go straight across, as you can see, one's further down than the other one. Next, I clean my terminals, because why would I like to put new cables with dirty terminals? Clean them up, tighten them up. They're just 210s, this time they're matching, as before the aftermarket basically was, and you can see was a 13. But as soon as I took it off, the other cable came off, which is, I'm trying to find it. Well, it slid off. It was one of the positive. Oh, there it is. Right there, it slid right off out of the terminal. It's supposed to go like so, and as you saw, it just fell off. Basically, these aftermarket ones, they're good and all, but it threads into like this aluminum alloy, and it's a steel bolt. And what happens is they tend to cross thread or strip out, and as you can see, there's a lot of play in there. And I just bit the bullet. I mean, the cables were 20 some bucks a piece. So I said, why not? Because like I said, these are very easy to bend and break, and they have a tendency to crack like right in there, the joint. So, but that's pretty much it. And last thing you need to do is put this new intake air duct back in. See, the battery's not going anywhere. And then the last and final piece, it's hard to do with one hand and holding the camera. Put your insulator boot on. Keep all those elements away from the positive terminal, so you won't have to put baking soda, Coca-Cola, and a toothbrush to it. But that's pretty much it. And make sure you put your battery tray back in. That's the last thing, which I don't know if I went over, but make sure that's there. But yeah, that is it for the cables. We can now see about firing this puppy up. Well, we got power. And there she is. All the lights work. Sweet.
Let's go. Yeah, I ain't taking a backseat. I'm passing anybody else.
That's it for y'all. Thank you for watching and have a good one.